Dental floss was a silk thread recommended by one man. Levi Spear Parmley was a dentist who worked in New Orleans and traveled a great deal. In 1815, he began telling his patients to run a piece of waxed silk thread between their teeth, and in 1819 he wrote it down in a book on the care of teeth. He was very clear about it. He wrote that the thread reached the place no brush could reach, and that this was where the trouble started. He was right, and it took the rest of the century for anybody to sell the thread. The first commercial floss came from a surgical supply firm, Codman and Shirtliff, in 1882. It was unwaxed silk, sold by the reel. In 1898, Johnson & Johnson took a patent for floss made from the same silk they were already using for stitches, which is the only reason it was available at all. They had the thread, and they had a machine that wound it. Silk had a weakness. It frayed, it was expensive, and in 1941 almost all of it went into parachutes. Nylon replaced it during the war and never gave the place back, because nylon does not shred and costs almost nothing. The small plastic box in the cabinet is the last surviving object from a book published 200 years ago that almost nobody read. Toilet paper sold badly because newspaper was free. Joseph Gaiety of New York put the first commercial product on sale in 1857. It was flat sheets in a box, treated with aloe, sold as a medicated paper. He was so certain of it that he had his own name watermarked into every single sheet. It did not sell. The reason is simple, and it has nothing to do with delicacy. Every household already had free paper. Newspapers, mail-order catalogs, pamphlets, almanacs, all of it arrived without being asked for, and all of it was used. A product that costs money has a hard time replacing a product that arrives by itself. The roll came later. The Scott brothers sold rolls from the 1880s without putting the family name on the wrapper, because the family found the whole business embarrassing. In 1891, Seth Wheeler patented the perforated roll so that a sheet came away cleanly instead of being torn. His patent drawings show the paper coming over the top of the roll, which is the only reason anybody can claim to have settled that argument. There was one more obstacle. Paper made from wood pulp in that period sometimes contained splinters. A brand advertised itself as splinter-free as late as 1930, which tells you the problem was real and recent. The roll on the wall is the descendant of a product that took 70 years to beat a stack of last week's newspaper. An advertisement taught people they might smell. The first deodorant cream went on sale in Philadelphia in 1888 under the name Mum. It was zinc oxide in a wax base, sold in a jar, and it sold quietly to a small number of people. The one that changed things was made by a surgeon in Cincinnati who wanted his hands to stay dry during operations. His daughter, Edna Murphy, thought it might have another use, and in 1912 she began selling it as Odorono, which is the words odor and ono run together. It sold badly for 7 years. It was an antiperspirant. It stung. It was faintly orange, and above all, nobody had been told they needed it. In 1919, a copywriter named James Webb Young wrote an advertisement for the Ladies' Home Journal. It did not describe the product for the first several lines. It described a woman who was not aware of a thing about herself that everyone around her had noticed. 200 readers canceled their subscriptions to the magazine. The company's sales rose by 112% that year. The advertisement is now in textbooks, and it is generally treated as the moment when advertising stopped describing a product and started describing the customer. The stick on the shelf is the only object in this room that was made necessary by a piece of writing.